Georgia Championship Wrestling was a professional wrestling promotion whose self-titled TV program aired in the 1970s and 1980s on Atlanta, U.S. superstation WTBS. Though based in Atlanta, the company also ran live wrestling shows throughout its geographic territory of Georgia. The territory was affiliated with what had been the world's top sanctioning body of championship titles for decades before, the National Wrestling Alliance. Television programming. The TV show, hosted by Gordon Solier, was recorded in one of WTBS studios on West Peachtree Street near 10th Street, in Midtown Atlanta. Shows were taped before a small, live-in studio audience, as were most professional wrestling TV shows of that era. The show featured wrestling matches, plus melodramatic monologues and inter-character confrontations, similar to the programming offered by other territories, including the Northeast-based World Wrestling Federation. GCW's show, which aired on Saturday evenings, was complemented with a Sunday evening edition in Savannah and Augusta. In the 1960s and early 1970s there was a 60-minute wrestling program titled Big Time Wrestling, produced Saturday afternoons at the studio of WAII Channel 11 in Atlanta. The NWA program was hosted by Ed Caprell, ring announcer Charlie Harbin and referee Leo Garibaldi. The show was broadcast at various times on WJBF-6 in Augusta and at 11 p.m. Saturdays on WTOC-11 in Savannah. The program included interviews with wrestlers pertaining to their upcoming matches. On WJBF, the interviews pertained to matches held on Monday nights at the Bell Auditorium promoted by Steve Manderson, and on WTOC they pertained to upcoming matches held Tuesday nights at the Sports Arena, later at the Savannah Civic Center promoted by Aaron Newman. The program for Savannah was taped in Atlanta on Saturday afternoons, then delivered by Greyhound bus to Savannah to be broadcast that night. Notable alumni. Big stars who came in and out of Georgia Championship Wrestling included Bob Orton, Brad Armstrong, Dusty Rhodes, The Road Warriors, Jerry Oates, Jake the Snake Roberts, Killer Carl Cox, Larry ZBYSZKO, The Masked Superstar, Mr. Wrestling 2, Ole Anderson, Nikolai Volkov, Ivan Koloff, Stan Hansen, Ricky Steamboat, Steve Ken, Ronnie Garvin, Ted DiBiase, The Fabulous Freebirds, Junkyard Dog, Tommy Rich, Rick Martel, Wahoo McDaniel and Nature Boy, Ric Flair. History. Georgia Championship Wrestling was formed in Atlanta in 1944 by promoter Paul Jones as ABC Booking. ABC held its matches at Atlanta's Municipal Auditorium every Friday night. Jones operated ABC for 30 years until his retirement in 1974. Though from about 1970 until 1972 he was assisted by his booker Ray Gunkel. In fact, Jones was so infirm by this time that Gunkel effectively ran the promotion. On Christmas Day of 1971, Georgia Championship Wrestling aired its first television show, which was considered a Christmas special, since the actual series didn't begin airing until late January 1972. The promotion underwent some big changes in 1972. Firstly, it started promoting matches at the then brand new Omni Coliseum. Secondly, it switched its television outlet from its original home, WQXI-TV, to an upstart UHF station then called WTCG but later renamed WTBS. The Battle of Atlanta. The new television deal would be one of Gunkel's last decisions. Ray Gunkel died of a heart attack later that year after a match versus Ox Baker in Savannah, Georgia. The death set off some internal problems with Ray's widow Ann Gunkel, who had worked closely with Ray and expected to get his share of the promotion being shut out in favor of Bill Watts. With the promotion being renamed Mid-South Sports, Ann Gunkel decided to start her own promotion outside of the National Wrestling Alliance, which she named the All-South Wrestling Alliance. It didn't look good for Mid-South at that point. Most of their wrestlers had gone with Ann, and Ann's promotion had gotten Mid-South's television time slot, though both promotions aired on WTBS. After 2 years of strife, a troubleshooter was called in. Jim Barnett, who had owned promotions in Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Colorado and Australia. At this point, Ann's promotion went downhill, being locked out of arena dates, with wrestlers defecting to Mid-South. And finally Ann Guncle's All-South Wrestling Alliance cried uncle in 1974. Superstation when WTBS went on satellite in 1976, making the station available to cable systems all across the USA. The renamed Georgia Championship Wrestling became the first NWA promotion to be broadcast nationally. Many of the NWA's regional promoters were unhappy, but Barnett claimed since he was only using Georgia-based wrestlers, that there was no harm. Whether or not Barnett was in fact taking the promotion national is a matter of dispute. Some wrestlers, such as Roddy Piper, say that he was in fact doing so, but was prevented by fears of crossing organized crime figures involved with the sport. Throughout the 1970s, Georgia Championship Wrestling was one of the main shows that kept the Superstation alive. In 1982, Georgia Championship Wrestling changed its main programming name to World Championship Wrestling. GCW ran shows in Ohio and Michigan. Wrestling returned to Dayton, Ohio in January 1983 after a layoff of no wrestling in Dayton for 5 years. The ring announcer there was Les Pomerville Sr., a Dayton native, and father of Flying Les Edwards. Barnett was forced out in a power struggle in late 1983. This set the stage for an important move in wrestling history, involving a then little-known regional promoter, Vince McMahon. The move that changed wrestling history. Georgia Championship Wrestling was primarily owned in 1983 by a conglomerate of Jack Briscoe and Jerry Briscoe, Jim Barnett, and Paul Jones. The remaining 10% stake belonged to Al Rogowski, a match booker, who also wrestled as Ole Anderson in 1984. The Briscoes sold their stock in GCW to Vince McMahon for $900,000 and guaranteed jobs with the WWF. Gerald Briscoe, in fact, was still a road agent in today's WWE before suffering 3 strokes in 2009. After working out a few prior commitments, Georgia Championship Wrestling ceased to exist. According to Ric Flair in his autobiography To Be the Man, the Road Warriors were offered $5,000 to injure the Briscoes during a tag team match by an unnamed, disgruntled source. Instead of injuring them, they promptly informed the Briscoes and told them not to worry because, "We're not those kinds of business people." The purchase of Georgia Championship Wrestling by the WWF is still considered the tipping point in U.S. professional wrestling's evolution from local or regional sideshow to national phenomenon. Black Saturday on July 14, 1984. Georgia Championship Wrestling ceased to exist when Vince McMahon unexpectedly bought the promotion and its TV time slot for his then nationally expanding WWF. Freddie Miller, an announcer, was the only member of the original Georgia Championship Wrestling on-air cast who did not quit in protest or just get replaced by the new owner. McMahon had underestimated 2 major factors, however. The first was the differences in tastes between fan bases of different geographical regions. The WWF style of wrestling sharply differed from that of GCW, with the WWF featuring cartoonish characters and storylines and squash matches, and GCW featuring more athletic competition. Secondly, Southerners resented the symbolism of a Yankee company coming down from the North and taking over their wrestling. In addition, WWF World Championship Wrestling was mainly used as a recap show, featuring matches which had previously aired on the WWF's main programming venues such as WWF Championship Wrestling and WWF All-Star Wrestling. Eventually, the WWF had infrequent in-studio squash matches on the show. During this time, the show was co-hosted by ring announcer Miller and play-by-play commentator Gorilla Monsoon. The WWF version of the show received much lower ratings than its NWA-associated forerunner. As a result, in March 1985, McMahon sold the Saturday nighttime slot to Jim Crockett, Jr., a Charlotte, North Carolina-based promoter who ran NWA-branded shows in the Mid-Atlantic states. Jim Crockett Promotions took over production of the TV show. In time, the show was renamed WCW Saturday Night, reflecting an overhauled look in a new home studio arena at the CNN Center. In 2001, the WWF gained the rights to Crockett's library of GCW, WCW, NWA matches and shows, augmenting the WWE tape library through its purchase of assets and trademarks belonging to the now-defunct WCW. Championship Wrestling from Georgia. After Black Saturday, Ole Anderson tried to carry on in the territory, promoting Championship Wrestling from Georgia, which briefly aired out of Atlanta. In April 1985, shows began being co-promoted with Jim Crockett Promotions. On April 27, Arn Anderson wrestled Thunderbolt Patterson to a no contest in the Columbus Municipal Auditorium. Then CWG disappeared. GCW titles: NWA Columbus Heavyweight Championship, NWA Columbus Tag Team Championship, NWA International Tag Team Championship, NWA Macon Heavyweight Championship.